Hello! Would you look at that? It looks like summer has arrived. The sky is blue, everything's sunny, plants are awake and growing quickly, very quickly, and temperatures are very nice. It's currently 20 degrees Celsius, which is 75 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that. And yet, would you believe me if I told you, same time 2 years ago, we had a huge snowstorm? Yeah, that's why subtropical plants aren't yet safe. So I'm worried about everything that's waking up. You know, citrus, mulberry, stuff like that. I'm not worried about these phageolas. They're doing fine. They're not gonna get damaged. Passion fruits are still asleep, and they're gonna sleep for another 2 months because they know that they need to wait for warm temperatures, like actual summer. It gets cold during the night. Next week, we're gonna have 1 degree Celsius, which is, 35 degrees Fahrenheit? That's not warm. So I moved a bunch of plants. The terracottas, or manzanias, are leafing out. They lost their previous leaves that they had since last year, and now they're growing new ones. So it's not fully evergreen. It does lose the previous year's leaves once it starts growing new ones. These shrubs here, they're growing very, very well. The Gufla vines are growing very vigorously. And this one has the flower buds, but no flowers yet. No, I have a Changsha mandarin here. I'm hesitant. Maybe I'm gonna plant it here. I'm testing it out. I'm gonna have to cover it for the next winter because I think it's a mandarin that I don't want to lose. It's very yellow right now. I'm not surprised. It's not great, the long winters we have here, so they get yellow. But my in-ground citrus are already recovering from the yellowing and getting green. Over here I removed everything, and I have some rootstock citrus just here, not looking very good because they're lacking water, I think. But I'm gonna put them in the ground today. I have like 50 citrus rootstocks to put in the ground. Stuff here is waking up. I moved stuff. This sea buckthorn is gonna have flowers for the first time. They're hard to see, but you can see some little yellow things at the base of the leaves. Those are flowers. So maybe some fruit. The spare is waking up. This is one I moved. Even this persimmon is waking up. It's slightly early. Basically, many subtropical plants, I want them to wait another 2 weeks, but they're not waiting. Oh yeah, and since I dug up such a big tree, it's not looking good right now. It's gonna recover. Jujubes not doing anything. See, that's what I wanted to see on my subtropicals. Don't do anything just yet. It's too early. And yeah, jujubes, they wait till it gets a lot warmer to actually grow. And you have some stuff like this cherry tree that I moved that is waking up late. Same for this sour cherry and others. Again, please wait 2 more weeks. This is a tune tree. Edible leaves taste like onion, kinda. But yeah, this always gets spring frost damage. We haven't had frost over the last week and a half, so everything's waking up and is not damaged just yet. A bunch of hawthorns here doing fine. This early persimmon here, not waking up yet. It is alive though. I'm hoping it's gonna manage to survive because that's literally the 3rd one I've had of this variety, and they always died at the graft for some reason. This big pear tree I moved is recovering just fine. It's blooming even. Not gonna let it fruit. It's way too early. Shipova pear covered in new growth. The Che tree also is starting to bud out. Unfortunately, the second variety I had with it, Darrow, same problem as I got last year. It's dying back, and I don't see any signs of growth. So it might be a loss, and if this Darrow doesn't manage to recover, I'm not gonna get a new one, and I'm just gonna stay with this Norris that actually does well. All of my pawpaws are doing fine. Several of them have flower buds, so maybe I'm gonna let them fruit if they try to, even though I'd say they're a bit too young to fruit. I would have wanted to keep them at least another year, maybe 2, before they fruit, but Maybe just to try the fruits, because I'm curious. This blue sausage tree is also leafing out. Last year we didn't get spring frost, which was very, very rare, but usually it dies back like almost to the base of the previous year's growth and grows back from that a few weeks later. And the magnolia berry is also starting to grow, which is great, because I haven't managed to keep them alive so far, and this is my third plant. They're really drought sensitive, it seems. Very, very weak to slugs and snails. And yes, the cats are out. My sister's dog is also out. So, you gotta be careful. And yes, I didn't build the greenhouse at all. I need to keep working on it, but there's so much to do in the garden. The greenhouse is not the priority for now. Right now, the priority is all of this stuff that I have here. There's a ton of pots you can see, and as Zorro, well, all the pots you can see are Poncerus woodstock. That is gonna go in the ground today. And I'm probably gonna need more. In total, I have about 50, and I'm probably gonna need another 50 to fully plant out the citrus areas I want in the garden. But this is a Morton citrange. Don't know if it's Morton itself. It's just Morton on the tag. I have to contact the nursery to confirm, but apparently they don't produce the regular Morton anymore, just Morton SL. Since it's written Morton, I don't know if it is a Morton SL. I hope so, because I already have the regular Morton. Morton SL is supposed to taste a bit like mango, so could be an interesting fruit. This is called Hongi Pepita, which is something I'm going to use for breeding. It's actually not a pepita. It is a very closely related species to pomelo, like it's a sister species to pomelo. I believe it's from southern China, like in the mountains. Cold tolerance is about the same as the Satsuma mandarin, so pretty good. I think for breeding that's going to be a valuable one to introduce some interesting genetics in there. And yeah, the leaves, because they have these two parts here, it looks like pepita, like itching pepita or Citrus hystrix. I'm not going to say the English name of Citrus hystrix because I've heard it's a slur. Yeah, I'm gonna put it on screen though. And this Hongi Pepita, which really needs another name, I'm gonna use it to cross with various hardy citrus to introduce some cool genetics in the mix, and it's super, super vigorous. So that could be also a good trait to have, like for citramolo rootstocks or something. We'll see what I get when I manage to do some crosses with it, but I'm excited about it. And yeah, fruit is similar to a grapefruit, from what I've heard. A sister species to pomelo, very closely related to pomelo. And this one, right there, is the cocktail grapefruit or mandelo or tangelo. Really, so many names. It's a cross of the Siamese sweet pomelo with some kind of mandarin. Very interesting because it has nicely flavored fruits, kind of seedy though, and it's quite low acid. So it has the genetics from Siamese sweet, that lower acid. Unfortunate thing is the fruits ripen late, but for breeding, that's going to be very interesting to bring different flavors, plus the fruits are orange, which could lead to interesting looking hybrids, and the low acid genes from Siamese sweets that are in there are very, very highly interesting for making sweet, cold-tolerant citrus. Which is why I'm getting so many of these. I have Oro Blanco, I have Valentine, Sakrina, US 119, and now this cocktail. And on the other side, probably the last pomegranate I'll get for the garden. This variety is called Eversweet, and from what I've read on the website of the nursery, it's a variety that is sweet even when the fruits are unripe, so you can get a super early crop by harvesting unripe fruits and are going to be sweet. In the tropics, pomegranates are mostly everbearing, they stay evergreen and everything, and they keep blooming throughout the year. Well, in more temperate areas, they tend to have a few flowers at the end of summer. So if you pick all your fruits at the end of summer, you can get a second flush of fruits for the year, and you pick them at the end of growing season. Even though they're unripe, they're still sweet, so you can get 2 crops from 1 tree, which sounds quite cool, and cold tolerance seems decent, apparently. So I'm gonna experiment with it. Not all pomegranates are cold tolerant enough to grow in my area, but this one, apparently it is. I'll have to test it out because I've had one pomegranate that was said to be cold tolerant to my area and it froze. I'm very happy that my 3-leaf Akebia is doing fine. It's getting some new growth. You can see some damage on a few leaves. It's burnt on new growth all over. That's probably frost damage from a few weeks ago, but it did make it through. It just damaged a few leaves. New growth is not stopped. It hasn't completely died back, and the lower parts of the plants haven't been affected. So my guess is this spring frost was barely below freezing, and only the higher areas were affected. This probably happened a few weeks ago, like in March. The plant was already leafing out, but we were still getting a lot of frost. This is my Myrobalan plum that I grew from a cutting 4 years ago. And there is a lot of tiny fruitlets that are starting to come. It's not super visible yet, and most of them will probably fall, but I'm expecting a good 20 fruits minimum this year. Last year there was like 3, so yeah, this year getting 20 fruits would be nice. And I don't know if it's pollinated with anything or if it's self-pollinating, so maybe I'm gonna get some hybrid seedlings growing at some point. This cherry tree just started blooming a bit later than my other cherry tree, but that's fine. Medlar is waking up. My kiwis are waking up as well. This is a hardy kiwi, green kiwi, hardy kiwi, and the yellow kiwi is dead. It wasn't that cold, but it died. Oh well. Yellow kiwi are more subtropical than green kiwis. They have more trouble growing in my area. And this is my Aromatnoia quince. It's covered in new leaves right now, but there are flowers coming all over. We got a really good crop of about 50 quince last year, and I ate them fresh because they were so delicious. You can see that's a flower bud right here, and it's probably going to start blooming within a week or 2, probably. Flower buds aren't fully mature yet, but I can already see one here that is almost mature. You can see the pink in the middle. That's gonna open within a few days probably. This donut peach is also waking up and blooming. And here I haven't moved my currants, but I'm gonna have to. I think it's a bit late in the season to do it now, so I don't know if I'm gonna get around to it. My tropical mulberries are also leafing out. This one is having a lot of tiny mulberries coming. Again, I would have liked for it to wait 2 more weeks just to avoid any risk of frost, but as long as it doesn't get too freezing next week when they announce cold temperatures, just above freezing, as long as that doesn't change and it doesn't get a bit colder than announced, they should be fine. The 5-star citramillo is greening up slightly, but not growing yet. I do see a tiny bit of growth being pushed. There's a tiny bit of growth being pushed at some places, but it's not fully awake yet. Same for this Trivas. Now that one has been there for a few years now, so it's not really getting yellow anymore. It stays green all the time, and it's also pushing growth in the same way. What's most interesting are the citrus that I put next to the wall. They're coming early. So this is a Morden citrange, and if I can get a good angle, you can see here, there's new growth already. Like, dude, please wait 2 more weeks before leafing out. That's too early. I mean, it's good to gain time on fruit ripening, because we have trouble ripening fruit, because the growing season is just 6 months. And after that, frost destroys the fruits. So that's good to gain a few more weeks of growing and fruit development, but not so great if we get late frost. Now this is a potted arum orange. I'm thinking of planting it here because the wall is going to give it plenty of heat, and it loves heat. This has been completely undamaged for me. I'm starting to see some beginnings of growth on that branch. Very, very tiny. I'm surprised it's already showing signs of growth because it needs a lot more heat than other citrus. So it wakes up a lot later usually. This is a Kabosu. I haven't seen signs of growth on it just yet, but I'm thinking of planting it here. It's related to yuzu, so shouldn't have decent cold tolerance, but probably not enough for my region. The Sudashi here, probably a bit better than Kabosu in hardiness, also related to yuzu, and it's completely covered in new growth. It's getting new growth all over the place. You can see at the base of every leaf there's a tiny growth. So it does wake up a bit early. Honeydew though, this one and this one, not yet. So I'd say that's good. They have better dormancy than Sudashi, it seems. My Chinkpipita, it's been very yellow, but it's greening up. These are starting to. And there's not much in terms of growth. I do see 2 flower buds coming, but no growth yet. So maybe it's gonna be growing a bit later. I'm probably not gonna let it fruit just yet. It's a bit early. Please just grow up. Don't put your energy in fruits. Put your energy in growth. Fruits are for when the trees are well established. So they need to have at least a second season in ground. And then next year, if it wants to fruit, I'm gonna let it do it. My yuzus, they're waking up. Unlike the hanayus. Surprising. The hanayus really surprised me. They're supposed to be less cold tolerant than yuzu, but they have better dormancy. And they've even looked better than yuzu when temperatures got cold. This is number 3 yuzu. One of the most cold tolerant yuzu there are. It's already waking up and getting some growth. Same for this Tokushima yuzu. Actually, despite being an early ripening yuzu, it's slightly later than the number 3. Number 3 is probably a few days ahead in terms of development. I don't know here if this is gonna regrow. This was an avocado seedling that came from a composted seed. No, it doesn't look like it's alive. That was funny because this survived -5. Avocado is surprisingly tough. Here there is my Prague Chimera that kept some leaves, my older one that barely grows, and I saw that it has a few flower buds developing and some new growth coming. I'm not going to show it because it's a bit hard to get in there because of the rosemary, but this one, which is from a different source and doesn't keep its leaves, it actually has more visible progress on it. You can see a flower bud right here. So maybe we're going to get some mandarins. I'm actually fine with letting this one fruit despite it being only a year old in ground because it's not a cold sensitive variety at all. So I'm not worried about it not surviving the frost. And who knows, we could get some citrandarin seedlings because it does produce hybrid seeds. And my poor euxantherin here, it lost almost all its leaves. Is getting a bit greener now. As you can see, there's new growth like that all over. So hopefully it doesn't freeze and we get some good bushing out and it's going to be dense and healthy for the next winter when it's probably going to get colder than this year. I'm really happy about it surviving the winter even though it was a mild winter because that means we're going to maybe be able to get some sweet citrus grown in ground. Well, that and the Prague Chimera. And my very green, very healthy Yuzu Malo right here, it's also starting to push out new growth, but it's not very visible, it's not very developed, not every branch has it yet. As for here, HRS 899K Citrandarin, cross of Changsha Mandarin with Trifoliate Orange. And yes, it's getting some new growth as well. It's not in ground yet, but I'm gonna plant it here. The hole is already dug, so that's perfect for it. Unfortunately, it's a late ripener, but it shouldn't have too much trouble surviving winters here. And I have a bunch more tiny rootstock citrus. I'm gonna put them in the ground today. And my Bircocolo, the Italian black apricot, is just done blooming right now. And I do see plenty of tiny fruitlets starting to develop. Many will probably drop, but very happy about the good fruit take this year. And my pears are blooming. This is my Asian pear. I didn't let it fruit so far, but I'm gonna let it fruit this year. It's probably established enough. 2 years ago, it almost died when it started fruiting because it wasn't well rooted enough and it almost killed the tree. because it put all its energy in the fruits and started losing its leaves. So last year I removed all the fruits, and this year I'm gonna let it grow and fruit as much as it wants. And this European pear is just starting to bloom right now, but it does overlap just fine with this Asian pear, so there's gonna be pollination. Last year it flowered more heavily and had about 40 pears on it. This year there's a lot less flowers and probably a lot less pears. So it's taking a bit of an off year. I'm still expecting a good 20 pears from it, probably. And also, first time I've had flowers on one of my almond trees. And for some reasons, flowers came after the leaves. I thought it was the opposite on almonds, but maybe that's why these are late flowering almonds. They leaf out before actually flowering. Cornelian cherries are done blooming. They started blooming over a month ago. They're always the first thing to start blooming. And this Afatu here, it actually flowered, but I wasn't here to see the flowers. They barely stayed open for 2 days. Like 4 days ago, it wasn't open. And now, there's barely anything left. You can barely see it's still a flower. This Cornelian cherry is leafing out. It's covered in fruitlets as well. And my Pluot, well, this big purple candy, it has fruitlets on it, but I don't think that they're gonna hold. It's never been a healthy plant, and I know I don't have the right climate for Asian plums, since they're subtropical plums, but still, I was hoping for it to work. Oh well. We do as we can with the climate we have. This cherry tree, new flowers are still coming right now. You can't see it much because it's covered in new growth. My neighbor's tree is not as advanced in foliage, but it is blooming very heavily. It started blooming at the same time, actually. But their cherries are absolutely disgusting. At least it's a good pollinator for our tree. Yep, that's about it for today. I'm gonna update you on my citrus breeding projects in the future. Stay healthy. Bye.